Welcome to A Funny Thing Called Business. We are 4 business owners with over 30 years collective experience under our belts, sharing the capers and triumphs of running a small business and how we now avoid perilous customer chaos and pitfalls. I'm Clare Whalley. We also have
Darren Langley.
Kate Curry.
Pete Morgan.
Okay, so today we are talking about a big subject.
So,
Have you got an exit plan?
yeah, this door, just this door behind us is mine. Are you talking about like if a fire alarm goes
I'm
off?
talking about an exit plan in your business. What are you going to do when you decide to retire? Is that just it? You just walk out the door and that's it, done, see you later? So I'd love to get your kind of initial reaction to that question in terms of, have you got an exit plan, Kate? What's your reaction?
Yeah, I think the short answer is kind of. And then the long answer is, well, how do I put all of Kate's thoughts and dreams into a single answer? How long have we got on this podcast? And I think I sort of change it slightly every day, but I think my plan is I don't want to be kind of working forever, but I don't think I want to just cut it off dead either. Because I think I'll be bored. I think if I did that and go, right, I don't know, I'll sell the business and go off and do something else for a bit. Like within about 3 or 4 days, I'll probably have set up another limited company. I'll be starting again or doing something different. And I think I just love the challenge of it. So it's a bit difficult, isn't it, to sort of go, well, how will I feel at that time when that time comes? And I think that's probably how I'd feel. So I think my exit strategy is perhaps just allow myself to have more time to scratch the itches and do the things that I haven't had time to do, but not necessarily cut things off dead either. So I think that's my plan, because I've got lots of big dreams, lots of things I want to do, like travel around the world in a camper van, and but you can still like email clients and stuff while you're doing that.
Apparently there's this thing called remote work.
Yeah, so you can do things like that, and I like the idea of doing something like that. That's kind of my plan. But my time scale is about maybe within the next 10 to 12 years that I'd like to be winding things down a little bit and be able to do more of that kind of stuff. So in that 10 years, I need to be putting things in place. So the best advice I ever got given was start with the end in mind. So that's why I'm always thinking about the end and all the dreams, all the things I want to do. And then how do I work backwards from that to try and make that a reality?
I think that's a good answer, isn't it? But I think it's what a lot of business owners might say. Well, the bit that you mentioned about what am I going to do with all this time that I've got? And I think that's what stops people putting a plan in place, because we've all worked so hard for such a long time that it's like, well, what the hell do I do when I stop? So, Darren, what's your initial reaction to, have you got an exit plan?
I have a dream exit plan.
Oh, nice.
Tell us about your sell the business for millions and retire. No, I think. Well, no. I mean, I have a vague one, and a bit like Kate, I've got a plan for what happens afterwards, and that isn't necessarily dependent on whether the business has any value in it. Because when I started, and I'm sure it's true of a lot of people, I never really thought about the other end of the journey, and like what Kate was saying about there. Having an end in mind, I wanted to do web design and I wanted to work for myself, and I was all into setting it up, and never really thought about what would it have enough value to sell at the end of it. And it wasn't until I spoke to a financial advisor many years ago, and he's like, "Oh, looking for your retirement plan, sell your business for X amount." And it's like, I was saying, "Really? I could sell this business?" It's like someone would buy it, so. That then started, I suppose, that trigger of like, maybe it is worth something, but I think you've got to build that into the plan to make it a sellable business. If selling is what you want to do, whoever you're going to sell it to. So that's something that is kind of part of my plan, is how to position the business into a way that is either going to be saleable to somebody else, whoever that might be, or, not being too dependent on it. If it has to just shut the doors one day and say, well, that was fun, and just go and retire, then that plan's still, not going to fall over.
I suppose it's like whichever way you want to sort of handle it, you still need to sort of do the same thing, don't you? You need your business to work without you in it.
Yeah.
And that's the key. And then that frees you up to be like, whether you sell it or management buyout or just stay on as a, I don't know,
as a
director in the
director,
background or whatever. You know, it still needs to, you still need to put the same things in place, don't you? For it to, it's got to, the wheels have got to go around without you turning them.
So it's interesting you said about starting with the end in mind. Do you think we could go into a business, or looking back at how you started your business, is it really feasible that you start with the end in mind?
Yeah, I think if you're a business owner who's gone into it for the business, you know, you've done your MBA, or you're a business-oriented person, I think you're probably going into that business very much with the mind of how you're going to get out of it. And what you're going to make at the end of it. And it may even be quite a short-term plan. But for me and a lot of people I work with, it's the passion for doing what we do that is put us in a position of wanting a business. And that's when you find out all those other things we've spoken about before, like you have to pay tax, and you have to, you have to do all the accountants and all the chase invoices and all of these bits of the business that we as, not entrepreneurs as such. We are entrepreneurs, but we're not like professional entrepreneurs. We're professional at what we do. And we just have to be kind of wear another entrepreneurial hat. Mm-hmm. And I think that's why, for me, it was kind of a case of, interesting to kind of think, could this business actually have some value if I were to build it in that format, that it could actually resell it and make some money at the end of it that goes into retirement funds, sort of thing.
I think absolutely we all can, can't we? Hey, what's your initial reaction to?
Mine, because I didn't start with one.
Yeah.
But I think coming from working in radio, you work in radio until nobody wants you to work in radio anymore.
Yeah.
So that's why you have people who work in radio who are in their 70s, who are in their 80s.
Yeah.
So I kind of just thought, I'll just keep working. I'll just carry on. I don't mind. Because the job that I do can be done from pretty much any location. So if it's like, if my wife had retired and was like, let's take a trip, fantastic. I'll take my laptop, hour a day. I can still do some work. It's fine. And then at some point, I'll go, right, okay, I'll log off and then just not log on again.
Yeah.
And
that sounds so exciting to me.
And that, but I would almost kind of let the work dictate that. So if I stopped chasing the work, and just let the work run out, it'd be like, okay, well, that was like
fun.
Darren said, that was fun.
Yeah.
Right, let's go off and either, like Kate said, just do something else. Is there something else I can do with my time? Or is it, right, let's...
But of course, we all have, it can be, all right, I'll just stop chasing the work and let's see what runs out. But we all have so many assets, don't we? Because we have a solid brand, and with the brand comes so many assets and collateral, and I just can't imagine one day just chucking it all in the bin and deleting it all. Could you imagine deleting all of that? I mean, it's so valuable, isn't it?
Yeah, I suppose it is, and that's the thing. It's not. I remember going to a networking breakfast. This was probably 2018, so I'd maybe going for about a year. And I sat down next to this really lovely lady that we were just chatting, and she said, "So, what's your exit strategy?" And I was like, "What? What's your exit strategy? Exactly. What's your exit strategy?" I don't have one, which
That's such a big question for a new conversation.
Yeah.
I'd be like, Jesus Christ, let me eat my bacon.
And it was the first time I was like, oh, right, I'm supposed to be working. Because I was just working because I like podcasts, I like helping others make podcasts, I enjoy listening to them, I enjoy making them. Great. So it never even crossed my mind of, right, when are you going to stop doing this? Well...
I think most people, the majority of people, aren't going to go into business thinking, how am I going to get out of it?
Yeah.
I think that concept it would have been alien to me.
Because you don't, it's almost like, I don't know, You don't want to put yourself in that mindset. You want to be like, I'm just getting going. I don't want to
haven't
think
even
about
got a
leaving
client.
it.
Yeah, and
I know.
helping me to exit.
How can I
just don't think you can think like that at the beginning.
No, but I think that sort of start with the end in mind doesn't necessarily apply to when you're starting a business.
Yeah.
It's like writing your business plan, thinking about, where you want to get to, writing your marketing plan, what's the end of that. It's like, well, what are the outcomes? What do you want to get from it? That's more important, really. It's more like the breaking that statement down into smaller things that apply to everything in your business, not just how to get out of the whole thing.
I think, looking back to the beginning and what you might do or advise people to do differently, for me, it would be thinking about all the stuff that you do in your business, what you talked about, Darren, like all the processes that you do and having those in place. So if you was going to step out, you can hand that over.
Yeah.
I think that's a more manageable thought when you first start your business, isn't it? To even just go like, all right, 2 days, 2 years, 3 years down the line, if I'm going to hire somebody else, can I just hand over that part of it?
Well, it's like your business is like a child, isn't it? And they grow up and eventually they do move out and they get independent and they can operate without you.
Bring it on.
But you don't, and it's like you're all quite looking forward to that happening. But you wouldn't like just cut them off, and it's like, you want to kind of check they're okay.
You don't know,
And occasionally just go, you're all right, you're eating well,
Don't come round. Don't come
We're
round.
off on holiday.
Yeah, I'm not prepared to do your laundry for you, but I'll pop round and have a cup of tea and check you're all right or something. I think it's that sort of analogy, isn't it?
Yeah. So have you all got your kind of processes in place? If you were to step out of the business, could you hand over, this lovely document and say, right, this is how we market, this is how we engage with new clients? Have you all got that in place?
Yeah. It's all in my head. No, to be fair, I have, because when I brought on a couple of freelancers and then, Shannon became part-time, I had to have that this is how we do the business. This is what the business needs. Because when I went away for a couple of weeks, they ran the business. She ran the business for 2 weeks. So she needed to know, how does the business work? What do we get up to? So it's a couple of years out now. So, but there's not a great deal that would have to be changed. So there is a document. It's got like pictures, clip art in it, and everything. Oh,
it
what?
sounds
Tell you.
delicious to be. That's interesting because I bet, let's say 3/4. I'd say like 80-90% of people, of business owners, do not have anything like that in place.
I'd be interested to hear from them. I'd be interested. So if you're listening to this, message us, get in touch on socials and let us know.
Send us a template.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I can compare it with the one I've got, and just let us know, are you in that position? Is there something that exists?
Because there's a huge amount of value in that.
When I spoke to that IFA years ago, and he said, you saw the business for X amount, and you don't want to rely on that. I was like, rely on it. I hadn't even thought of it. But at the time, it was me as a business with my name on it. All the processes, as Pete said, was in my head. It's like, what am I going to sell? So my brain in a jar, maybe, I don't know. But that could still happen. And that is why I've kind of made changes and making changes where the business isn't about me, because too much goodwill is kind of centered around an individual sometimes in a business. Yeah. And basically you've only got clients because of you. And so you're out of the business. Why are they still working with that business? Mm-hmm. So you can have those processes in place, but you've got to kind of have, I think, either individuals or enough automation that makes that business still operable without you. From the perspective of that, the goodwill and what it is that makes your business unique shouldn't be you, it should be something else.
It's interesting, isn't it? I think we have kind of touched on it before with companies like, Virgin and Tesla. Everybody knows who's at the helm of those businesses, and some people might choose not to buy because of who's at the helm. I've heard that. But of course, a lot of people are choosing because they, resonate with the person who's at the helm. And I wonder what would happen if those people went away, do you think? I mean, obviously the business would still run.
Yeah, but it would definitely affect share prices.
Yeah.
I think if Richard Branson stepped away from Virgin, then because he's so tied in with the brand, then I think there would definitely be a ripple effect. Because that's strange what Darren was saying. Yeah, I'm not there. I am the business rather than being in the business.
But can't we all just have an AI like avatar of ourselves that just carries it on?
Kate,
That's it.
that's the answer.
Thanks for listening, everybody.
Episode. That is true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, then what does anyone need us for? And you could just roll that out. What does anyone need anybody?
Because it needs
Feeding.
updating every
Oh, good, yeah.
every few months or so. Yeah. Woo! We're all right. We're still here.
That's my exit plan. Yeah, it's just wait until AI takes over and...
This episode is sponsored by the best-selling book, Marketing for Introverts. Being an introvert and a business owner means navigating the ongoing challenge between needing to promote your business but not wanting to put yourself out there. If you want to run a successful business but the idea of showing your face on your marketing terrifies you, this is the book you need. Written by marketing consultant and introvert Jenny Proctor, the book takes you through 5 straightforward steps to understand your introvert superpowers and use them at the heart of your marketing. By the end, you will confidently and successfully be able to promote your business in a way that fits with your strengths and values. Don't use introversion as an excuse. Buy the book that Freelance Magazine described as close to a perfect blueprint for marketing with integrity as you will find. Head to Amazon and search Marketing for Introverts.
So what are you learning about yourself through this process of thinking about an exit plan? Because we're all kind of, mid to late 40s, early 50s. What are you learning as you're kind of coming towards the latter years of running a business?
I think that what I've learned is exit isn't a dirty word.
No.
Yeah. I know lots of other dirty words, but exit isn't one of them. But I think, because I always thought, is it okay to talk about that I might leave my business one day or that I might sell it? Or is that weird to talk about? Is that allowed? What will people think if, I'm talking openly about these things?
Yeah, because people might choose not to work with you because you're talking about exiting. But
are you not fully invested in your company then? But actually, maybe we need to find a different word for it because it's not quite
Dispose.
Chuck.
Yeah. I'm going to be disposing of my business in the next 6 years.
Business death.
Yeah.
Well, I think you can have a positive spin though, because it's we should be talking about these things because we're not just going to be, working at this level for the rest of our lives, are we? And we all want to go and do other things in later life. So I think it's okay to talk about it and we should give it that positive spin that it needs to have.
I like that, Kate. It's definitely okay to talk about it. And the cogs are turning now to how to turn exit into a positive. I'm guessing it is about selling, isn't it? It is about making money.
Yeah.
And carrying on the legacy of your child.
There has to be some benefit to all the years of being a business owner because it's, it's not the tax breaks, that's for sure.
I am trepidatious, I think is the right word for exiting the business because I've got a big birthday looming.
21.
Yeah. And I've been working really hard since probably 16, even at university, I had 3 jobs.
Yeah.
And just came straight out into stressful jobs. And I'm kind of like, oh my God, I just can't imagine stepping away and doing nothing. So I'm kind of thinking about what does it look like to just really, perhaps go 2 days a week or, and just working with a few clients. But it's fun kind of thinking about what that might look like on the other side.
Absolutely. No one has to, you don't have to force yourself to kind of give up your business. And, I suppose I'm thinking of an uncle of mine who has a business he has been running for a number of years, and he's in his 70s. It's not stressing him out. He's just maintains the clients he's got. There's no real point in him selling the business which he could do.
Yeah.
He probably will do at some point, but he's in good enough health. Gives him something to do.
Yeah.
A couple of days a week.
If
And
you love what you do,
yeah,
there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Is that the shark wrestling business?
yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Guy's in his 70s. I mean, he's still fit as a fiddle.
But I think there's this fear, isn't that, amongst that generation of like perhaps 70 plussers, when they stop, that's it, and poor health kicks in, and because there are a lot of stories of that, aren't there, of people quitting at 60 or 70 and then dying.
But I think it is a matter of making sure. So my father-in-law, he's 80. He retired when he was 55. And the thing I've heard from a few retirement people is, I don't know how I had the time to work.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, he became kind of active in his golf club, became the captain and then the president, works with a local charity, does some work with the Masons, plays golf,
I think
plays
that's
bowls.
what would happen to me. I'd just become a complete busybody everywhere.
Oh, I'd be neighbourhood watching it like Gordon.
I don't know what I'd be doing. I just think, don't know.
We all need a business to keep us out of mischief, don't
Yes.
we?
Yes.
Yeah, that feels right. So what's the biggest challenge do you think you've got now around thinking about I'm doing exit plan in quotation marks?
I think it's thinking about it, but not fixating on it.
Yes.
So knowing it's there. It's almost it's like when you're on holiday, you've got to fly home at some point. So it's there, but don't fixate on it. Enjoy the holiday. Enjoy the thing that you're doing. So enjoy where you are in the business and what you're doing in the business. And kind of, if you've got a plan, that's great. If you haven't, start working on one.
Yeah.
But then just kind of put it away and go, right, okay, that's it. I don't need to think about that really.
Yeah, that's kind of my philosophy.
Yeah.
I'm kind of letting the idea of, after business, just letting it ferment and just...
Yes. I'm not
You're
sure
going to
that's
have a big barrel of ale by the end of it.
Yeah.
See, I like the word ferment.
Not sure that's the right word. It doesn't give the right image to me, that.
I'm just going to let it quietly give off some gas for a while.
All right, percolate.
Oh, yeah, okay, percolate, I like. Yeah.
I'm writing it down.
I think that it is worth kind of planning for it, because I think there's a lot of things you can do when you're running the business, which are to the benefit of the running of the business. We've spoken about already in terms of automation and writing out plans and doing all those things that are going to help your business anyway. But I think having a mind on actually what could this mean in 10, 15 years' time if I come to sell the business, and actually thinking about what is it worth? Because I think that's probably the biggest question for a lot of business owners is, what's it actually, who's going to pay me to buy this business?
There's always someone there, isn't there?
There's always someone, because obviously it doesn't matter how big or small your business is, there's going to be somebody who would be interested. If you think about accountants firms, a lot of them expand by acquiring other accountancy firms.
Yeah.
And there may be much smaller accountancy firms that they're buying up. So it's definitely part of other businesses' growth plan is to buy smaller businesses. Then you've also got obviously your team. If you're assembling a team and they're bought into the business, maybe they would want to look at taking over that business. And then you've got to think in advance of how do you put that succession planning into place, because there are things like schemes that they can be paying into in advance that builds up a fund for them to then pay out the owner of the business at the end of it, and then they take over the business and you walk away with your money.
Yeah.
But obviously I think the biggest question is what is that figure amount, and I've spoken to quite a few people. A friend of mine sold his business recently and he did very well out of it. He's retired.
Did he sell?
He was in software, It's a software business. And he's younger than me, and he's
shark wrestling.
not shark wrestling. No.
Oh no! I mean, he's going to do that. To be fair, the exit strategy for that can be quite severe.
Yeah. There's a very clear
Decapitation.
exit strategy for that. But yeah, I mean, he's younger than me. He sold his business and now he's effectively retired. He might do something else, but that's up to him. But I think for a lot of businesses, I'm speaking to him and speaking to other people about how you value a business. For smaller businesses like perilous that are maybe under £1 million turnover, there's a thing called the EBITDA or something like that.
EBITDA.
Yeah, that's the thing. Which is which is the bit about how you kind of value potentially an idea of your business by basically looking at your profit before tax, etc., perhaps over a 3-year period, working out the average and then multiplying that by 3. That gives you a price.
Got some sums for you to do.
Yeah. But I mean, I think it's important to understand that, because it's like, well, actually, what would that be if I wanted to sell the business next year? And you'd be like, yeah, no, that's disappointing. I don't want that. So what can we do over the next 5-10 years to grow that so that price tag is bigger? And obviously, there's other things you can do, which you already touched on in terms of, things that you can build into your business that have value. I mean, whether brand is one of those, certainly IP is one of those, any intellectual property you can generate internally, or retained businesses and things like that, stuff that's kind of going to be of good value for whoever takes over that business, is going to add to that multiple, and then that multiple might go up to 4 or 5 times your EBITDA. And therefore, so I think that's kind of...
It all falls apart though when you can't remember what EBITDA stands for.
Exactly, yeah.
The word is before interest and tax on...
and depreciation.
Depreciation. Amortisation.
And amortisation.
Oh, well done.
Yeah.
I don't know what that means though. So.
It's your profit, in a sense.
Geeks.
Before the tax.
You are.
So, yeah.
I love how much thought you've given this, Darren. That's a comprehensive overview.
We're talking about exit plans. I'm
It's
working
good
on an
though,
exit plan.
because there's lots of practical things that you can do rather than just thinking, oh, mine's not worth anything, or it's just me, or whatever's going through your mind. There's lots of practical steps that you can take to finding out, right, is it worth me taking the next step on trying to sell it or see who's interested or whatever that looks like. But I think we've all got time on our side, haven't we, guys?
Yeah, another 6 months.
Yeah, I'll give it another week. See how I feel.
Then I'll get into the shark chasing game.
So yeah, I mean, silver linings. I think that's what it is for me. I've got time on my side, and there's nothing. I don't need to make a decision desperately.
No.
It's just the nice thought of what could I do with it in the future?
Yeah.
What could I do?
I think it's great that we are talking about this and thinking about this as business owners, because I did read a stat recently that only 1 in 3 over 55s have actually got a sort of plan for their retirement, financial plan for their retirement.
How many?
1 in 3 that do. I guess as business owners, you kind of think more longer term and about strategy and about finance, because you have to in the business. But I think that's quite a scary statistic, that not many people have actually maybe even spoken to an IFA about what they can...
My mind.
Yeah, it does mine too. So speak to IFAs.
Yeah. What are your silver linings?
My silver lining is I'm really looking forward to Darren selling his business. So he's got the time to be full-time Spider-Man, which you're really hoping to be, won't you? So I'm really looking forward to that. That's a real silver lining.
Hey, that's a good callback. Now, what's this?
Yeah. Spider-Man and shark wrestling.
Yes.
Combine the two.
Pete, what are your silver linings?
I think it is knowing that there is something there, and that's almost like it's just a comfort to know that, right, there's this thing that you can move into place. But also that, if it all just suddenly stops tomorrow,
That's okay
wouldn't be the end of the world. Yeah, absolutely. I'm very lucky in the fact that me opening my gob is a job. So I can go to people and go, do you need somebody to open the gob? Yeah, I can do that. So, and that, so if as and when I exit, as and when I kind of wind the business up or sell the business on, there's still things to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like life just happens. You can't control it, can you?
No.
So you might have
Not
a
all the
plan,
time,
and then
no.
something will happen, and drop a big rock in your pond, and then you're like, ugh, I'm gonna have to change my plan a bit.
Yeah.
But, I think you just have to be prepared to adapt it. Have your dream, have your vision, but be prepared for a few twists and turns to get there.
But it's, as we've said, isn't it, that
Jerry Springer, I think.
everybody needs a
Take
plan.
care of yourselves and each other.
Yeah.
Before we finish, we'll just do some wrestling and spaghetti hoops. Maybe with a shark.
Yeah, obviously. Gotta be.
I must have missed that episode.
Oh, yeah.
They used to do that.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Yeah. It's the only way to sort out some problems.
Just
Spaghetti hoops.
get them in a tub of spaghetti hoops.
God, I need to get some rewatching going on. 'Cause that sounds fun. I loved that programme. I really loved it.
Oh.
It reminds me of a client who recently retired, and she did just walk away from it and kind of, like you said,
Turn the lights off.
just log off. And I just thought, oh, God, that sounds good.
Yeah.
That would kill me to do that.
I know, it's weird, isn't it? I mean, the next day or 2 days later, you'd be like, oh, I'll just log back on again.
But it's that thing of you
Emails.
She, I can't imagine she decided it at 4:30 on a Friday. And obviously we are, like you've said, Claire, we've got time on our side. We don't know how we're going to feel in 5, 10, 15, 20, 25 years' time. When
I'm
if we're
definitely
still...
not.
No, I
Like
know.
that's 25.
But if it's that thing of, I'm still doing it, actually, and clients will be made aware, everyone will be made aware. So your last day, it's almost like when you have your last day when we worked for big companies. You didn't do anything on your last day.
Oh, I did.
Get out.
I wasn't
You just went around, talked to people, really slowly packed your desk and all that, prepared your final email that you'd send out saying thanks to everyone, apart from you-know-who.
Yeah. Oh, I did draft that email as soon as I handed my resignation.
Yeah. So you do all of that, and I think you'd do that if it was your business.
Yeah.
I think she, probably was like, I'll just go see what's on the telly, shall I? I mean, I'll check my emails occasionally, but then, come 5 o'clock, because everyone would have known. It would have been a long process. Yeah, and I think that can be part of if it is log off, never log on, you have that as your process of, right, when do we start? How do we tell people? Yeah. And how do we tell people in a way that isn't going to make them go, well, I don't want to work with you anymore?
Yeah, that's a good place to start, isn't it? If you're kind of stuck, how do we tell people? I would love to hear from our listeners as to what their exit plan looks like, if they've got one or if they haven't. I think it's an interesting discussion. So please subscribe, share and review so our fellow business owners can enjoy, be inspired and always keep focused on the fun side of business too. Thanks, gang.
Oh, chucking us in a thanks, gang. Here we go. This is new. Is this part of your exit strategy?
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.